If I magically vanish, just assume I'm restarting my computer as fast as I can.
Fair enough.
We'll just make fun of you in chat like we always do.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Andrew will make the stock joke about if only Ryan could take a class on how to stream.
Right, I know. Yeah, if only there was somebody who was teaching that material these days. All right. Well, this is the start of our, and we're live now, by the way. This is the start of our last episode of Final Fantasy VI. I'm really excited. We are going to go do what I think is the coolest side quest in FF6. Cyan's dream sequence in the back half of the game, and then finish up Kefka's Tower and be done. We're going to skip a couple more obscure side quests, frankly, so that we can all move on. We've heard all the music at this point, except for the final stuff. So we're going to go do the one kind of really emotionally closing side quest that remains, and we're going to move onward. We are joined tonight, as I look at my... Oh, I should look at the actual game screen instead of trying to play on the stream. I'm getting too old for that. Hold on. All right. Now I can actually see the full-size map of the game and know where I'm going to. We've got Andrew and Jillian Aversa joining us today, who've been long-time members of the kind of fan VG remix, overclocked remix communities, and they are both working industry professionals in game audio. Jill does a ton of recording for stuff like God of War, Halo, Destiny, Civilization. If there's a AAA franchise that has vocalists, there's a pretty good chance she's shown up once or twice. And then Andrew does music production, a bunch of cool music composition, and has a really great ear for timbre, which has led him to start, gosh, was it 15 years ago now, Andy? It's been a while since the company started. Impact Soundworks, which makes a bunch of the sample libraries that produce the sounds you hear in modern games.
And Jillian is not in the room yet. We'll see if and when our 7-month-old falls asleep. He is currently in her lap. That is the latest update I've received via text.
I feel like that's a pretty good excuse. I do have some memories of those days. All right. So to do this, we need our party of superstars here. Hey, Julianne.
In, Julianne.
I know, you need your party of superstars, obviously. That's where I come in. Hi.
Very good. No, actually,
I need to get on. Sorry, my internet collapsed.
You know, you are not the only person to have that problem today. I don't know if I don't remember telling the four of you. Maybe I did this morning, actually, but Andy and Jill had their internet out for, what, 2 days now? This is the second day of no internet for you until 4 o'clock?
Yep. Chalk it up to underground animal destruction, evidently.
That is just
the only explanation.
Thanks.
Yeah, don't want that.
Well, like, do you know what kind of animal? Like, was it like a groundhog? Something like that?
I genuinely
does it matter?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We have assorted lizards here as well. Could have been.
Oh.
I mean, lizard sounds cool as an excuse for the internet being out. Sorry, a lizard ate the cord.
For real, that's an excellent excuse. All right. Oh, Cyan doesn't actually need to be equipped with anything. He's only along here for the ride. He's not an actual character. All right.
He's better in this game than he was in the original because
he's had a significant gameplay balance tweak. He doesn't have to charge sword techs anymore, Andy. You can just pick which one you want. He's like 4 times better.
Yeah, that was definitely the worst thing about him before, by far.
All right.
I love that we're finally in the perfect stream to use my favorite of our emotes, which is the Kefka lol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are coming up on it.
I need to do one more menuing thing and then we'll get moving, and that is, yes, we need to give Celis, oh, she has it, Phoenix, so that she starts learning spells that will make her a useful playable character. Okay. I did a lot of leveling off stream here. Oh,
And
right, we
was
get
one
this
of the
theme
better
again.
Tracks.
This was one of our favorite remixed tracks. And Andy, have you heard any of the Pixel Remaster soundtrack yet? Or is this all new?
You're muted.
You're muted, Andy.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, better.
Much better.
Okay. Sorry. I've played through 1 and 3 in
Okay.
their entirety, and I've heard a good amount of the 6. Obviously, near and dear to my heart. So.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that Andrew is one of the 2 co-directors for the Overclocked Remix Final Fantasy VI album, which
We've listened to.
I am
the course of this
biased
stream.
in favor of, having been one of the performers on it, but I really think it's one of Overclocked Remix's best works.
Yeah.
Was that where Fistful of Nickels came from? Was
Yes,
that
that's one of
album?
Andy's tracks that he
Yeah,
arranged and worked on that.
That ruined me for the one in this game, because the one in this game could not stand up to Joe Duja's whistling.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
And we listened to it first, which was a really bad idea. Because then we were like, we heard it in the game, we're like, oh, this isn't as good.
So,
Shucks.
the Pixel Remaster for 6, and I've been a big fan of the first 5, all of which I've now played. I haven't done 5 on stream yet, but I'll be getting to it because I'm doing the summer 4-job fiesta that everybody plays Final Fantasy V for charity over the summer. I'm going to stream that this year. They all did very, very well. My general critique of almost all of them that's not Final Fantasy II, where they did do this, is I wish they would have felt the opportunity to take more agency and really swing for the fence. Even if people don't like the interpretations, I always like it when they add new material and add a new twist to this music.
Yeah, some of the things felt like lean. I guess it felt like they wanted to lean as far into the original intent as possible. That's what it felt like from the musical perspective. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because on the gameplay side, for all of them, and especially the 3, so Japanese
Yeah.
3, they changed quite a bit. It's like
Yeah, there's a full
they
gameplay
went nuts.
rebalance there and actually added a ton of stuff. This track, I really like, there's a melody counterpoint line that they added that just small things that you can add really make a lot. The dun da 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 was not
I like that
present
we're getting-
in the original.
We're getting some nice callbacks to some of our favorite of the tracks that have shown
That's
up in
true,
this.
yeah. Nice that we get to hear some stuff again.
So we got to hear Cyan right there, which is gorgeous.
I'll
We
let that one
really
play in
like
full
this
when we
one.
actually finish this. Alright, peace out. We're not here to fight, we're here to conquer the plot here.
Who are you, Terra? Not here to fight anymore.
Nope, don't need that. Now that I have 2 characters, I'm more willing to give it a go.
One thing that's been interesting, so besides the music production and software stuff that I've been involved in, I also run a game studio, and we do a lot of pixel art in the games. And having seen it from that side, from the production of the pixel art and the implementation of it, it's really interesting the direction that they went for all 6 with this, with like the bold, high contrast palette for everything.
Yeah.
And combining that with like what I think for a lot of these effects are, I think what they did is like 3D or non-pixel effects, and then they put like a pixel filter on it, like for the water, for these spell effects here. Like I'm pretty sure that's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
those. I don't think they did those like
Okay.
hand by frame by hand. So
Right,
yeah, it's
right.
interesting, like the choices they made for
Yeah.
you know, what things they wanted to keep very rigid, very old school, and when they wanted to bend that.
There's definitely some parts of it that, and I've said this a couple times before, makes it feel to me more like it was a Sega Saturn title than a Super Nintendo title. in terms of like the fancier, flashier art direction wrestling against the older pixel art, especially with lighting. I will say the water shader is the same across all 6 games, and I think it's a tremendous, tremendous effort on their part.
Very pretty.
All right.
Whoever did that is like, better use it all 6.
Yeah, this one is pretty psychedelic.
All right. This fight was once hard. In theory, it's a redux of a boss fight from Final Fantasy V, where you have to kill all 3 bosses simultaneously, and each one of them is vulnerable to a different element. The catch is that in Final Fantasy V, this boss blocks the ultimate spell, so you have to do it legitimately in order to obtain it.
Why didn't we keep the 3 Stooges' names? Come on.
That's not the case here.
It's so much better as Larry, Curly, and Moe.
Yeah, this is a dumb update. I agree with that.
Thank you. We're slowly getting you into be a Woolsey translation person. I feel like over the course of this, we've gotten you to say so many times where the Woolsey was better. And we have VOD of it, so it is on record now.
That's right. Yeah, the Tom Slattery translation to 4, 5, and 6 fixes all the censorship issues, but it comes at the cost of sometimes trying a little bit too hard, like there with Mobius and Laragorn, or is occasionally too literal, where it is a better translation, but an inferior localization. Which is something I suspect Andrew has had to wrestle with. Getting the Tangle Deep ported to Japanese has to be a real challenge.
Yeah, that's in general with localization. And after I went through that process, I wanted to study Japanese myself. So I'm on my 3rd year of studying it, and it's clear when something has been sort of what is the word for it? Like transliterated. Mm-hmm. Where it's like you'll see that sometimes when you get from Japanese to English, you'll see something with a sentence structure like regarding blah, something, like starting a sentence with regarding, because that's like a very literal, from the Japanese sentence order, a literal way of putting it. But
because it's like replicating the particle system.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so I think it probably depends greatly on the translator, because there's definitely discretion involved in like, do you want to use the same words, right, to find the closest dictionary definition to the words that were used, or do you look at the entire like phrase, the entire thing, and like paraphrase it in English, which is sort of different. There's which one is more respectful to what was
the
originally
letter
written.
Or the spirit, right?
So that's definitely, I don't know if there's a right answer, but I do really like Woolsey's translation for this. Maybe it's strictly nostalgia, but there's so many great and memorable lines in the original one.
Oh yeah.
The modern translation is better anytime something was clearly censored. Celis's suicide attempt, for instance, doesn't actually necessarily read that way. Or one of the better side quests is the Dwayne and Kataryn, the teenage pregnancy in Mobliz. That's not spelled out to you that way in the Super Nintendo edition of the game. You couldn't have, that complicated topic come up.
Yeah, and I did a little nod to that in Tangle Deep. There's like a monster breeding system, and we never use the word breed. We just say like, if 2 monsters like each other enough, something special might happen. That's how I read it. It's like a nod to the translations of this era. Like, that's how they say it.
Save points coming together.
Speaking of putting a baby down, I can hear my own. She is not happily going off to sleep.
Everybody with their new babies makes me feel very old.
New baby. Stop. I have no new baby.
Josephine's not that new at this point. She's over a year old.
If anybody wants a cat chewing on my leg, you're welcome to him.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say you can.
I don't know what's he's up to or what he's thinking, but he's literally like gnawing on my cat at the moment.
It's fun.
And for anybody that does not know, my cat has no teeth, so it's very moist.
Warm gums of affection.
Ew.
He's warm gums of affection.
Here's Science Theme in full. We'll let this play for a minute. I love the shakuhachi.
Please.
Yeah, going hard.
Oh, we have to talk to the
you were
family
let
first.
It play, Ryan.
I was. It automatically moves forward. This track, by the way, if we wait long enough for the new saxophone solo to show up, like, it doesn't work here in the dream sequence. This is not a sexy part of the game, right? Like,
well, this showed up in the Phantom Train earlier too. We were like, yeah, this is like clearly they did the jazz club moment for the initial use and didn't think about all these places this track got used.
Right.
It really doesn't fit.
I mean, I'm not
play, so let's get the incongruity.
I'm not convinced that, like, the Narsha Mines are sexy time location either. But at least it's not this dream sequence.
At least it's like a city. Like, at least there's genericness to it.
As I have said, I like the track if it's divorced from the game.
Right, yeah, we'll wait for the sax solo to come in here. Why not?
We have to.
The song of a tormented man.
I mean, it's kind of film noir, I guess.
Patrick in the chat on Twitch is right, by the way. The text is centered to the entire widescreen window, not the frame of the game as it exists here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. That's a good point.
Tenor sax equals male torment.
Unplayable.
You know,
I'm gonna start talking about someone's gams as she came into his office.
God, no.
but saying thou.
The only reason we get to be that picky, incidentally, is because it's Final Fantasy VI that really sets the standard for what we might call cinematography in this era of video games. Nothing else even comes close. Even Chrono Trigger, which is kind of often the sister game to this, at least in the States, has a lot more room to work with in terms of art assets, so they need to do a little, or they don't have to do as much with camera pivoting and things, because their characters can be more expressive. They don't have that here, so they have to be good.
Yeah, that's true. I think actually also just the cutscenes in Chrono Trigger are not particularly long. Having played through that recently on mobile as well. Yeah, it's an interesting point. Yeah, I never thought about that.
The only really lengthy one, I think, that requires cool timing is the sequence surrounding the first Lavos encounter, the whole Back to the Future type moment where you revisit it as it's happening.
That's a really big one. Right,
That's cool. It's probably the apex of the whole title, though.
For anybody keeping track, you know that part of Joe and I being 5 years apart is we don't have a lot of media in common. He finally watched the third Back to the Future with me for Mother's Day. He's now seen all three.
Nice.
I'm so proud. And I hadn't seen the third one in a long time, so it was fun. You know, that one's just so silly with the Western elements. So that it was fun to go back to that one.
I haven't seen them in a while myself.
The
first one is a big touchstone in my life. So.
You had better knock it off.
Do I have the spell that finishes this quickly? I'll bet I don't, actually. That's going to be really annoying, because we are all very, very hard to kill right now.
But yeah, what's interesting, since we were talking about cinematography, we talked about this in the Daryl sequence, just to bring it up again for Andrew. In the way that you are going down the stairs with Setzer and you're seeing the memory above, and the way that that's framed so beautifully. What they did here in the remaster was they put like a white ghosty outline around the top part, and I thought it was so unnecessary. It was already perfectly clear in the original that was the memory being narrated. Like, I don't know why we needed that like extra filter on it. So yeah. I was annoyed.
It's like just make sure the player fully understands that. It's like have to have some degree of trust in the ability of the player, viewer of a movie or reader of a book to infer some of these things from context.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, listen, it's my favorite song in the game. And the sad thing is to have one's least favorite be the boss theme is unfortunate because it comes up so much.
Oh, see, I really like this boss theme. I have no problems with it.
Yeah, do you really hate it because of that violin? Is that
I do. I hate it.
You've got to get over this hatred for Lindsay Sterling. You just need to let it go.
I'm gonna bring back my bangs and make you have to pretend buy a violin.
Buy a violin, start popping your butt when you play.
After that one person on the bus thought that they recognized me.
I just think in general, when violinists are trying to sound cool, they sound so much less cool. Violins sound cool when they're not trying this hard.
Yeah, it is very...
you can play pop music and not do it in this way.
Oh man, we win. I was actually worried I wouldn't be able to kill a character because all my defenses are too good right now. I leveled off stream to make this easy.
Yeah, as you should. Oh, look at that. Just the little tilt in the pixel. You're just it conveys so much. At least he gets some closure here. You really are strong. Ah!
Get out, you! Look, it's your honor. Where?
This track, hearing the arrangement of it now again, this almost feels like it could be in the Midgard in Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely that same vibe. Needs more exhales.
Also, I don't know that I like it right here.
Yeah, it's a little...
Cyan's theme would make more sense to me right there.
It comes in a moment, actually. They try to make it this big moment here.
Yeah, because the sword and everything.
We'll always be at your side. I'm Massa, and I'm Munich.
That is, it's very reminiscent. We're gonna come together and become the sword. Yeah, they do live on in your heart, buddy. I want to give them a hug.
Yes. I know. Wow.
I want to purge my mind of confusion and doubt.
Confusion and doubt.
Right.
Yeah. The sad thing is you have to go through devastating loss in order to do it.
I know. Darn.
Probably not worth it.
I do like Cyan's theme arranged quite a bit. It's better in FF14 though. Stormblood absolutely kills it with that piece of music. Alright, that did not take us a half an hour. Let's do one bonus thing. We'll give Jill a couple more minutes, see if baby Evan settles down. let's stop here. And I'm going to be responsible and save just in case. Okay. We will completely close out Cyan's arc, is what we will do.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice thing to do.
I don't remember this. Let's see.
You can
Remember
bring
he's writing the
Cyan back
letters?
to Lola and make him confront her.
Oh, right.
And I like that she knows on some... Like, you'd think, like, she'd know the handwriting or something.
Also, it lets us hear this track again. The,
Which is so good.
yeah.
Grown up. See, Cyan's theme is good, but it was already so good in the original
Yeah.
that I don't know if I would vote it a good glow up track.
Yeah, like Mount Colts was a glow up.
That was the glow up.
We really liked Emperor Gastal with that, like, lion's roar sound in it.
I still
All the
vote...
other ones that
We'll have to
were
wait
in,
and
like,
see
our
about
top
Kefka's
five.
Tower and the endgame dancing mad stuff, which I'm pumped to get to tonight.
Oh yeah, Call of
For me,
Tower.
my number one choice is the Seeking Friends World 2 airship theme.
Airship.
Yeah.
Is
Pretty epic.
the end of that in Pixel Remaster still impossibly good.
Yeah, we'll
He
have
doesn't
to-
confess, incidentally.
Maybe we'll do a poll on Twitter of best glow up.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I like a good poll.
Yeah, I haven't done
Poll
one in a
troll.
while.
Cyan actually does put the letter here.
That bass. That bass.
Okay, so we're gonna say? Do we want Mount Colt still in the mix, or have we transcended that with all
There
the other
might
good
be
things?
too many options. Doesn't it limit it to like 4 or 5 options?
We're gonna find out.
I need to.
Four
I think it
options.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
So searching for friends is in there. Techno to Chocobo, obviously. I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, no. Unacceptable.
Actually, can you go find a Chocobo stable just so Andrew can hear it?
Yes, that is an excellent
That's what we
suggestion.
can do.
I don't think I've heard that one from this game.
Oh my
yet.
god, Julianne like almost spit out
I
her drink.
snorted so loud it hurt my face.
Okay, due north of here.
Wait,
When I
It's
heard
not
it.
good.
I don't know why. I don't know what I was expecting. It's not like. I mean, the original is so crazy.
Yeah, we can make this a reality though. Hold
But
on.
I just think that they tried and failed.
Here we go.
I mean, possibly the Dark World town theme could be in our top 4. We really liked that one.
And see, I like this piece, the kind of the kids run through the inner city, but it's because it would have been like if you asked me what my top 5 pieces of video game music were an hour ago, this piece is a pretty good entry into that conversation for me in terms of what a town theme does, needs to accomplish, and executes here.
Good. Yeah.
Now it just adds like the Celtic Moon arranged flute turns, and I like it even more.
Yeah.
I want something that was like does something new. And this arrangement doesn't do that. I guess technically this Chocobo theme does.
No. So many bathroom noises.
This is like if Final Fantasy VI had come out on Sound Blaster 16 in 1993. Like, it's bad.
wow.
It's just like swing and a miss.
That is definitely. I mean, if you think about like the. Yeah, I mean the original. What?
Why?
No, a chocobo for you. Good.
What is happening?
Again, that was a chocobo.
The other thing that this sounds like to me is if you could access a version of Overclocked Remix from about 10 years ago, before they cut a significant number of the first 500 remixes.
I would say 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. That if you typed in like, and they're numbered in order, right? So you can track down what remix number 96 was out of your 5,000 or so remixes pretty easily. Some of those early ones, again, this is 2 decades ago. God, we're old. The technology was not great, and people's arrangement chops were not where the bar is today. This sounds like one of those to me. That, like, yeah, I think 10 or 15 years ago, some of those got culled from the website. They were just...
Oh, yes. They
There are
did.
moments-
Oh, no. What is happening to this track?
No, it's not good.
So listen, several years ago, in 2017, I had shingles, and they put me on a heavy opiate for the pain. That track gives me flashbacks to being high on the opiate for shingles.
Amazing.
Like,
Phobia.
I feel disembodied listening to that track in all the ways that I hated it, by the way, because like my eyes
Didn't mean to do
move
that.
properly in my head. I hated it. I went down to the high dose Tylenol as soon as I could because I couldn't look at screens. It was
Yeah.
but I mean, it did help with the pain, but like as soon as I could stand it, I was like, I don't like everything else that goes with. I don't know why anybody uses that stuff like willingly, but this reminds me of that experience in all the worst ways.
We're gonna go do one more thing very quickly, because we can.
I'm enjoying the different Dichokobos. Tamagotchi music Dichokobo, local advertising Dichokobo, used car dealership Dichokobo.
All right.
So somebody I know has been using DALL-E, the machine learning art generation
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
monstrosity, and it's been really interesting. So he has a series of. He linked to a series of images, which is like Kermit the Frog in the style of. So it's like Kermit the Frog in the style of Naruto, Kermit the Frog in Blade Runner, and I mean it's cherry picked the ones that they picked, but like it does it pretty well. Like
That's
it
pretty good.
has the background of, it simulates a background and it just has Kermit the Frog there, and so I would hope that in 5 to 10 years we have something similar with music, and then we can just write blank to Chocobo.
Yeah.
Like Ave
5 to 10
Maria
years.
to Chocobo.
5 to
Ave
10
Maria
minutes.
Dichokobo.
It just
Yes,
do with it,
100%.
It sound.
This is the brain of a remixer right here, like bringing
Ave
together
Maria
Ave Maria
Dichokobo.
Dichokobo. I love
I'm
it.
on board.
Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the stuff that really, really gets me is when you're bringing together, when you're juxtaposing things that are like so far apart from each other.
This track, incidentally, since we're revisiting it quickly so I can get revenge on it for the stream 2 weeks ago, the arrangement itself has not changed very much, but because the choral samples on the Super Nintendo were so limited in what they could achieve, this arrangement sounds very much newer because all the mix, it pops in the way it was originally intended to. And I think it sounds much better here than the original, even though they've changed almost nothing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like what he was going for. Pretty clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, we do get the psycho stabby strings in there.
We do.
It sounds exactly like that.
That's kind of fun. That's not in the original.
Date Chocobo.
We also get da 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 instead of just da 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 da. Here we go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is definitely a great upgrade. Yeah. It's not an arrangement really, but it's
Oh, Julianne, to your challenge, Jin just passed their candidacy. So
Woo!
Jin is the one we can have do
can do
Chocobo
it.
at the end of the dissertation.
Perfect. I love it.
Unless Stefan still has some room, you know, I don't know.
You can always add.
Yeah.
Acknowledgements to Chocobo. Every chapter.
Dedication to Chocobo.
You can get away with it. There's a typo in my dissertation that is 4 empty tabs in the middle of a word, and nobody caught it. So, I mean, whatever.
You never know. I
One
know
of my
that
drafts I gave away money in a footnote.
Yeah, you gave away money in a footnote. I put in like little Easter eggs in some of my footnotes.
Dissertations are the best place for that because you don't really have an editor. So whoever is in this chat who is writing a dissertation, have as much fun as possible. Because otherwise it sucks. But you can use some freedom to be kind of silly if you want.
Karen, in your book, do you have any Easter eggs?
In the book, I don't think so. In the dissertation, I was able to slip in one Eddie Izzard reference.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, no, I don't really have any Easter
Wait,
eggs.
what was the Eddie Izzard reference?
Oh, I think it was something really, really, really mild. Like, nobody would pick up on it, but at the time I was really into all of this stand-up comedy, her now, but I think I said something like, can neither confirm nor deny something. And it's like, nobody would get that I was meaning that as a reference to a particular sketch, but I did name a couple conference papers, but does it have a flag? So that worked well for me.
Sometimes it's just for yourself, the joy. Like, you put something in there, and
Yeah.
maybe no one will notice or care, but...
It was supposed to be the title of my dissertation, but the committee voted it down because they did not understand, and I was just like, it's probably for the best, but I really, really wish that this had an Eddie Izzard title. Oh well. Such is life.
All right, well, I tried to keep everybody else alive. I've failed. I don't care anymore. It's fine.
I feel like my advisor would have been down. There were so many, like, we would have a meeting on the books to talk about work, and then I would show up, and it would be like, let's just talk about Lady Gaga for an hour. I'd be like, wait, what about my stuff?
I'm not there about your stuff.
In theory, we were, but yeah, I actually remember there was one time I was like really struggling. I don't remember if it was like my Tetris publication, like if I was publishing something or it was a conference paper, but I was really struggling with something and I went for advice, but it was like when Prince had just died.
Well,
So
the whole session was very emotional about that, and then we got to the end of it and I'm like, but
for the
still have a
record,
problem.
in case I mess this up, I do have life 3 on a couple people right now, but this is how to do it without it. Is you get them down to 5 HP, and then you cast Quetzalcoatl, and everybody will jump. One person will come down. Presumably you're going to do 5 damage. Thanks, Realm.
I really was not expecting it to not do any damage.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, is this how he dies?
Yeah, I think alliteration
Thunderous
is
Ultima.
totally acceptable if you can't do a pun.
mine's-
Weirdly,
my dissertation
Celis
title ended up
had
being,
life
like,
3
the
status on
most
her
cut and dry.
and did not come back to life when the fight ended. That might have interesting implications for the Kefka fight, so now I'm really glad I came up here. We'll see if that game balance has changed. I also needed, I'm not going to lie, I needed the Mega Elixir that is right there. Because I did not have one. And I very much want 1 Mega Elixir for Kefka, so I don't embarrass myself on the stream. Alright, the ending of this game is long, so we are going to go to Kefka's Tower now and start making our way through,
Cool.
so we can be done by 11.
I'm gonna pull up Last Dungeon because I that was one of my stretch goals for the transcriptions.
Oh, nice, yes, let's see the original once I get out of the tower, please. And then we'll fly on
before
over
you
there.
descend on it.
Yeah. And Andy, have you heard the Second World airship theme in full in this arrangement?
It's extremely good. It's actually one of my favorite. Both the airship themes from this game are among my favorites. So I was that was like the first. I just jumped to that to hear these. Very, very good.
Nice.
I like the first time we did this and someone was like, Dana, do you have a transcription of the Night theme? No.
Night theme.
No, I didn't bother to transcribe the 1.5 measures.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna mute this. Dana, are you sharing your video on Discord? Okay, let me pop over there. Hold on. And other folks on Discord can track along as well. Let me shift what our audience is seeing. All right, you can punch it.
Okay, so yeah, last dungeon. And then we loop again. I think my favorite part of this track is that bass line with all of its scoops and everything. It's just so present and so active with all of the brass and the, epic scoring. Just particularly effective. So yeah, it's looped at that point. Could we actually listen, since it got brought up in chat? Apparently the Balance and Ruin version of this is amazing. And I can't think of it. Is there a way we could take a listen to it?
Yeah, bring it up and we will do it.
Okay, cool.
There are not a lot of not winners on that album.
That's true.
Everybody really kind of did their best for that one.
Does it have like a cutesy name?
Andy would be able to answer that question faster than I can, actually. I don't remember what the track title was for the last dungeon theme.
I'm actually trying to remember myself. I have to look at
my physical copy of it is actually in the other room, so I can get out my phone. And...
I'm going through the track list. I'll recognize it if I see it.
Oh wait, they're in this version says what's what. Let's see. Prelude, ending theme, dancing. Man.
I think the website will tell you.
Marsh.
The website should tell us both the track title and the new track name.
Yeah, that's what I ended up finding.
That is and ruin in this economy.
In this economy.
Indeed.
All right, I'm gonna go set up my party and get ready to fly.
Ready whenever you are.
Flower Marsh.
Are you sharing with us on Discord? Okay, hold on. Let me pop our scene over. All right, go ahead.
Oh.
Cool.
I love that harmony change there.
Nice. Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
This edition plays very nicely into your work with Kefka, Dana.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Little Terra in there.
It's what happening is. Oh my goodness. Oh man.
I think I get why it's called Trower Marsh. I didn't realize this track was 12 minutes.
Yeah, we need to fade it out so we can finish the rest of it. It's long though.
All right, so that's a taste of that. We can all go listen to the rest of it.
Jeremy Robeson is just awesome at what he does. He's got a lot of really big orchestral arrangements. And in case it is not apparent from hearing that, he has professional experience and did before he came to Overclocked Remix as an arranger.
I would be honored to have that play in his dungeon. I think.
Kefka would be honored.
All right, let's see what we're working with here.
Dancing Mads.
Oh,
I love the loop point on that. So good. The
Thick.
airship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to decide what the 4 things are going to be for the best blow up. Right now I have Mount Colt, Searching for Friends, Emperor Gestalt, and Techno to Chocobo.
Do the town theme.
What is that one called again? I always forget what the Dark World town theme is called.
Yeah.
The Day After.
Day After, thank you.
All right. I have about 7 characters who are good, and everybody else is hot trash. That's the correct way to finish this game off.
right, poll is live on Twitter. We'll see how it does.
Yeah, I'm gonna go vote. But no, I don't have a.
It's a tough one.
I can't pick.
Those are
I'm
tough
gonna vote.
choices.
You gotta vote for the algorithm.
Runs to vote.
I've never voted.
We can duke it out in the comments too. We can tell everyone they're wrong. And like, no, actually, Techno Chocobo is the best glow up. Because they spell Chocobo.
Oh. Can't do it. Yeah, I'm just staring at this poll now. It's like picking a character. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter where I put everybody else. Everybody else is terrible. Does anybody remember, do I still get the entire cutscene if I use Go-Go instead of Gao, or do I have to take the original 12 to see all 14 vignettes at the end?
Oh. Why not just take them all? Is there an issue with...
I'll just take Gao. Yeah, Go-Go's fine. He doesn't need to be here. Okay. I have 1 super person, 2 super people in every party. That should be enough to get the job done. And then 6 super people should, yes, finish this amazing run of triplets right as we jump from the airship. That's correct.
No!
Okay.
Yeah, that was Ludo narrative consonants right there. Ludo musical narrative consonants.
Ludo narrative.
How long of an academic term can we string together in one?
That is academia, is figuring out.
It's true. Make the word longer.
I put Ludo
Oh,
narrativity
here we
in my
go.
tab.
Here's the actual track, everyone.
Yep.
Sorry, it's here. Not loud enough.
I'm glad we have the electric guitars, though.
Like, they're not punching it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna skip that fight. He doesn't drop anything we need.
Everything mixed into a reverb slurry in the next recital all over. Yeah, we are a little nice with our articulations in a lot of these.
A lot of FF6. It's just not. It's too nice. Yeah.
It's too
Not
nice.
mean enough.
Yeah.
Especially for Kefka, man. You can punch with Kefka.
It's so like delicately articulated. Like, yeah, no, you need some fat.
Oh, actually, this is like... This section's weirdly delicate here.
Is this supposed to be like our hope as the characters? Like, this doesn't fit Kefka. We're gonna save the world, you guys!
My emotion! Captain's not allowed to have interiority.
This transition's new. I wanted it to enter with the electric guitars like we were on the Battle of the Big Bridge. Like, loud right there.
Yeah, if you're gonna do electric guitars, let them take it. Right now they're just like supporting texture, which is obscene to me. They need to be obscene. The like raw genocidal maniac that this represents. So okay. Oh my god. Festivo by Nelly Bell. I mean, maybe it sounds better not on Discord, but I don't know. It sounds too nice.
Alright, we need to make Mog our Super Dragoon.
Yeah, this has to be like representing the party's hopefulness in the face of Kefka's nihilism.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Agreed.
I kind of wish we had like a boss theme for interior fights in here that were also unique, like Atma weapon style.
Yeah.
I could go fight Atma Weapon and walk backwards and do that. I skipped that, remember?
That's a dinosaur, not a dragon. I think this made.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It could have its. I guess that's asking a lot. There's a lot of music in this game, but
I do like the fact that it's a dinosaur. Has anybody seen or played the free RPG Franken?
No.
It's on itch. Okay, if nothing else, just watch Video Game Donkey, that YouTube channel. Watch his brief 11-minute playthrough of it with commentary. So obviously he edits a lot, but it's like Undertale. It's a little bit of like a pastiche of classic RPGs, and one of the main running jokes is the reuse of the same sprite over and over again for certain enemies. It gets more and more outlandish. What they're trying to pull is like this represents something that's not even the same genus.
I love it.
Nice. I do like, actually, I like that the dragons are not palette swapped. There's one of every different type of evil dragon, including both the plant-eating dinosaur here, and I'm lying to you. Skull Dragon and Dirt Dragon are the same sprite recolored. So there's one reuse, but otherwise.
Is there an Earth Dragon and a Dirt Dragon?
No, there is not. There's just a Dirt Dragon here.
yeah, that represents.
I love it.
The
I
Earth.
like it. I love it. I love it.
He's in the Opera House, that dirty
So-
location.
Ryan, I'm wondering if, as you're kind of navigating the tower, maybe I could briefly do just a recap of Kefka's leitmotif using the original and just kind of talking through a few things that are going to come up in Dancing Mad.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Do you want me to cut
Okay.
the audio here so you can...
I was going to say, let me reshare.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to see me navigate the tower necessarily. Do you want to put
Right.
something up? Yeah.
And since, this is my time, this is my area.
It is. Okay, I will mute this for now.
Okay, so essentially, I'm not gonna go through my whole dissertation chapter because that's why it's a dissertation chapter. But it's a deep dive into Kefka and his characterization. So I'm looking at how he's depicted as being crazy, mentally ill, all the ways that people talk about him throughout the game, and there are kind of elements that are in his characterization that are all in his leitmotif that are sort of foreshadowing Dancing Mad and that are going to come up again. So the game is portraying him first as kind of the evil madman, like the Joker from Batman, the unhinged laughter, wants to watch the world burn. They label him as a power-hungry narcissist with delusions of grandeur and an obsession with spectacle. He has a delight in disorder, chaos, and irrationality. And then lastly, as we see at the end here, he's nihilist. He's seeking absolute destruction because of a belief that life is inherently without meaning. He wants to create the tower to non-existence or whatever. So what's interesting is that the leitmotif is introduced in the very beginning in the desert when we aren't taking him seriously. He's kind of clownish, and yet all of the elements are there. So as we start out, we have kind of the clownish stuff, but it ends in catastrophic bombast. So first we start with the pizzicato strings and the oboe, so we have this kind of mischief motif going on, like he's sneaking up on us in tiptoe or something. And then we start getting military elements reflecting that he's a general in Gestal's empire. So here we get the snare drum with the introduction to the snare. And then next we get a harp playing the initial pizzicato theme, but in broken octaves, which is weird. Like, what's that doing in a march topic, right? Like, how does that fit in with like the militaristic vibe? And so, harp, dream sequences, visions, magic, right? And so we're kind of already pointing at flights of fancy there. There's going to be more elaborate kind of harp arpeggios later on, but already it's being introduced here. And then, of course, you can also say, like, there's religious associations with the harp, cherubs and stuff. You could make that connection that he's going to kind of inhabit, like, the Lucifer figure in the end. I have some stuff in here about connections to earlier leitmotifs. We don't need to get into that. But we're going to get a B section here at measure 26, which is pretty square at first. A little more operatic, I guess. Then we get this moment. That kind of interruption that happens where we change the meter for a moment and sort of knock us off kilter. And one of the big parts of his characterization is that he's unstable. And that's one of the things that we are supposed to be afraid of in Kefka's character. And so that metrical, like, knocking you off your balance a little bit is kind of alluding to that instability element. And then we start really, like, going to town on all of the fanciful elements, like with these harp arpeggios alternating with the militaristic elements. We get more brass entering. We get kind of like a machine gun like 16th note roll in the snare. Kind of like dreamlike harp happening throughout all of this. And then we get that same interjection, a little bit fuller instrumentation. And then we start kind of doing our final section. We get this like new sneaky theme, which has a similar quality to the beginning, where we start kind of climbing up in these little staccato bursts. And then we get kind of our luscious texture at the end. It's a weird word. Right here. Here. And we get our little like bird tag right there in the flute moment. So also what I've described as kind of the magical power leitmotif, the rising da 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 da, that whole like rising figure gets used in other places throughout the game for magic power more generally. So basically, I make an argument that his leitmotif is introducing all of the elements of his character arc at the first meeting in the desert. So the mischief that turns into sinister mirth, shown in the overarching structure and the progression of the leitmotif, his military vocation in the use of the military march topic elements, and it's mostly the instrumentation, mostly the snare and the brass, his obsession with power conveyed with dynamic brass and percussion, and the gradual expansion of the musical forces in the texture, his delusional flights of fancy conveyed with the flourishing harp gestures, his instability in the form of the metrical shifts and the uneven periodic structure, which I didn't talk about, but it's in there. The religious connotations of the harp in conflict with the military trope as foreshadowing his destruction of the empire in pursuit of his final form, and the sense of operatic grandeur and bombast that underscores the entire game and adds to the sense of terrifying spectacle as Kefka succeeds in destroying the world and following his path to oblivion. So anyway, that's Kefka.
Yay!
Yay!
Hooray!
Summary.
Look, a victory theme for Dana. All right. We have not missed much, frankly.
I had never thought about the elements. I've heard that theme so many times. I never thought about the elements in that way, but that makes perfect sense. The way it describes it.
Thank you. I'm glad it's convincing. I mean, really, the only ones I had to convince were my committee, but it's nice. It's nice if it works.
Yeah.
Setzer is weirdly, despite the fact that he is pretty low level, he's still kind of a half-good character because he has the fixed dice now. Like, that's the only thing that matters with him.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into that much detail on all the pieces of Dancing Mad, by the way.
Well, we're not going to have time. That's going to have to move quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll have to move quickly through that, but like each movement I guess I can like just talk about it before we get to it a little bit. Each movement in Dancing Mad is kind of taking different elements of that and then kind of like bringing them to their apotheosis. So like Dancing Mad, starts like, okay, this is it. This is the final boss battle. We have, I say it has all of the force of a demon rising up out of hell to greet the band of heroes, complete with a demonic breath sound effect in the 4th SPC channel.
Oh, it might not have that though, right? Like that type of stuff might be gone.
That's what they're going to do with it. It also is reprising melodic material from opening theme 2, which is kind of bringing full circle like the cinematic idea of the game. The instrumentation has a lot of our like tubular bells, cymbal, timpani, but then we start having a lot of organ kind of taking over, starting in Dancing Mad. So this is like playing both on like all of the things Karen has written about use of organ in gaming and the different connotations there. Kind of evil medieval stuff, but also there's kind of different organ timbres here. There's also the kind of prog rocky organ that shows up throughout the stuff too.
Despite the fact that I like this organ usage the best, I feel like the most well-known and kind of most impactful organ moment along those lines in gaming has to be Ganondorf playing his own theme at the top of the tower of the final dungeon in Ocarina of Time.
So good.
Alright. I always forget about this boss. It's in theory possible to skip him on the Super Nintendo version, but we're just gonna have to deal here.
I'm gonna pull up Dancing Mad 1. We'll probably just do snippets of each of them instead of listening through the whole original transcriptions.
The prog rock thing, I love Uematsu's love of prog rock. It really comes through in a lot of his stuff. I don't know if I'm sure the observation has been made before by other people, but the Battle on the Big Bridge, the chord progression that comes in kind of like in the middle part of the piece that is, I think it's like kind of like fourths going around like da 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 da. That part is virtually identical to Hotel California. Like,
nice.
I've never heard anyone make that specific comparison, but that's perfect.
I mean, like down like virtually every chord. It's way too coincidental. I'm sure he was listening to that kind of stuff because so many of his he clearly loves like prog and classic rock. So.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my dad's age, right? He listens to the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Everyone listens to the Eagles. Isn't that like one of the best-selling albums of all time? Is their greatest hits? Yeah, I hear a lot of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I agree. Hotel Gilgamesh.
Some people were disappointed with the Balance and Ruin when I did the arrangement for the album of Dancing Mad. That was the direction I went. I went full Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Like I tried to make it as accurate to their kind of period as possible because so many people, including official arrangements of it, crank up the epic factors of Dancing Mad so much. Yeah. It's like I'm not going to be able to outdo that. So I was like, well, what can I do? I can do a prog rock thing. We can run it through a tape machine. Like make it sound like ELP. So that was my thought. And so I tried to explain it to people. I was like, well, I wanted to.
I have a strong suspicion we are going to lean hard into that epic organ flair here.
Hey Ryan, you want to switch over? I'll play part 1. May as well, since we're just kind of going through the tower.
Yeah,
may as well.
Let me fight this boss first here, and then we'll do that. The one interesting thing I have yet to do right here.
Figure we'll just use the time to kind of jet through some stuff. Dirty Dancing Mad. That's a mashup I want to see. Dancing Mad crossed with like Time of My Life. Did anyone else get sent over and over again by friends the video that went viral recently of the final scene from Dirty Dancing set to the Muppet Show theme song?
Yes, tremendous.
Send that to me.
0 people.
It's a delight.
Yeah, notice, by the way, Setzer's like 20 levels behind the others, but the fixed dice are so good, it doesn't matter. And I think... Yep, there's all 8 dragons.
Yeah. It's broken.
You get the ability to eviscerate your entire party accidentally 2 different ways as a reward for finishing all 8 dragons. Crusader, which I'll bring up very quickly here, gives you a massive MP boost, which nobody cares about. Meteor at 10 is wild, and Meltdown is the best spell in the game. The catch is that it hits your whole party also. So if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you'll do more damage than Ultima does to everybody at once and die. And if you summon Crusader, the same thing will happen, except now there's no way to absorb it. It just, if you do this, you die. Fantastic.
Shall we watch a little bit of Dancing Mad?
Yes. Let me mute this again, and I'll pop us over while I run the third part of the tower. We'll do our initial lesson of Dancing Mad here.
I'll just do a few of them in a row, back to back, and then we'll be all set up.
That sounds great.
Let me know.
We're ready for you. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, a lot of like classic like JRPG boss theme stuff in here. Right? Saw synth, heavy reverb, organ, tubular bells. I mean, it's all that fateful. Then that da da da. I call that the like magic power theme. It's very fateful. It shows up everywhere in this game. So this is like the final boss, and now we get demonic breath. And now we get like an operatic moment here. This is actually Maria from Hell singing. There you go. Opera comes full circle. Okay. Coming up here, which is really kind of fun, is we get a quotation from the opera right up here.
Yep.
That's directly from the opera.
Yeah.
The Wedding Waltz duel. So, like, that alone, you're like, that's a pretty good boss theme, like, right? Like, and then it's like, just buckle up, right? Because there's so many other parts to this. Because you're like, oh, that's only the first thing. Dancing Mad Part 2, the kind of the main thing happening here, I think this one's kind of unnerving and erratic. It's very obsessively repetitive and static. We probably won't listen to the whole thing. It doesn't really develop very much. I kind of described it as like a death drive, you know? Drive toward nothing. Even the final cadence doesn't really like have good resolution back to the start of the loop. So I'm arguing that this is the nihilism right here. Just keeps kind of doing the same thing over and again.
There's a moment in this section that for some reason recalls Castlevania strongly for me. I'll point it out.
Yeah, so it keeps doing that, and then it does this. But this doesn't go anywhere either. It's just like empty bombast. And that's all well and good. And then later in the track, after we do that a couple times, we get what I call the failed fugue.
This right here. I love this.
Yeah. It's like it just can't take off from the initial subject. And then it just kind of runs out of steam and gives up. Like, okay, here, let's start a fugue.
It's like they give up.
Yeah, it just kind of gives up
Like,
and then it just starts
oh
over.
man,
It's like,
we
wait.
can't do it.
Oh, speaking of giving up,
Okay,
I'm gonna lose right here. Hold on. Okay, no, I made it out. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's just kind of, also the instability, also the desire for obliteration. And then Dancing Mad 3 is really interesting because it's in major, first of all. But it's kind of like a culmination of like the religious elements, the religious topic, his attainment of so-called divinity. And here we actually get really interesting organ music as well. This one sounds like not a failed fugue as much. Got kind of all your like Baroque-ish configuration in the keyboard. I always call that bariolage, where it kind of alternates back to a pedal. Yeah, so first we get Kafka leitmotif in major, which is fun, in the pedal. And now we get it in minor. So it's like a cantus firmus in the bass. I guess that's not really the right term in this era, but we're leaning Baroque, but Bach quote.
Oh, okay.
Just jump back, hear that one more time. Real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, it loops. Dancing Mad Part 4 is just like what we had in the beginning of the game. It's our kind of also Sprach Zarathustra moment. Because, of course, you're not fighting anything here. This is just purely, hey, kids, Kefka's here. Because he actually, in the original, he pops out right when it hits the big chord, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the sheet music didn't make it onto this one.
I like
Sorry.
it. I like that it wasn't there. I don't know. It's dramatic.
It is dramatic. That's really funny. Here, it's the same. There it is. And then he pops out right here. Yeah. And then finally we get kind of our most and we won't do the whole thing. Dancing Mad 5 is just your like, here's the prog rock, y'all. Here is the proggiest of the prog. Most metrically unstable. But that's also what makes it very prog, is this like shifting meter element. That's taken from his leitmotif. Da, 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 da. One of the best bass lines. Then we go into my favorite section.
Dana, it's funny that, like, now that I'm thinking about the original, how you said,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, the part where you said like the da 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 in the original is where it kind of gets a little bit metrically weird, but here is where it kind of comes back together to a 4/4. So it's kind of flipping that on its head. What you had said before about the metrical
Oh my gosh,
change.
yeah. Because everything else is so unstable. Like, that's no longer the destabilizing element. Oh, Julianne, that's so smart.
You're a theorist. I'm so sorry.
I'm not the one who said that. You did.
You said
so this one, it's quoting, of course, his initial leitmotif. It's quoting the opening themes. It's quoting Catastrophe. It's quoting the fierce battle. There's, like, little nods to, like, all sorts of things in the game. Mm-hmm. I mentioned there's a reworking of the interjection from the original leitmotif. But I don't say that it's... I don't say that the way you just... I love that.
I'm going to jump back because we're just about ready to start the boss sequences.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much else... I mean, there's the part where it gets, like, ponderous again.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
All right.
Oh, wait. Very end.
Yeah, sure. You got a second yet.
Quote.
I notated Kefka's laugh.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to turn the FF6 sound back on. Here we go.
Okay, here I go. Switching over.
So anyway, in the dissertation, it's a real deep dive. So I already had all the transcriptions. Obviously, I had to excerpt them in the dissertation, not just like here. I thought about having an appendix that was just like here's all the things, and I knew that wasn't gonna fly. So I just excerpt the relevant moments in the actual dissertation. And then I talk about like the idea of his last laugh being at the end of that track right before the loop.
Seeing lots of Ultima peppered with maybe a random other thing here and there, by the way, is how the next 15 minutes of our lives are going to go. There are other ways to finish this game, but this is the best one.
Kind of around all of the, like, interesting, here's how this stuff is being depicted to us, knowing that this character is meant to be portrayed as mentally ill. I have a lot of stuff kind of in the beginning and end of the chapter that are setting up, like, the implications of using mental illness in that kind of ill-defined, like, insane villain trope, how harmful that is, the stereotypes, the stigma against mental illness, and just how dangerous that is. But then I also talk at the end about the idea of, like, we're kind of complicit as players. which is interesting, because the only way to, like, not give in is to, like, not play the game. Like, or I guess
I have a hard time buying that
yourself
argument
die.
much of the time.
That's an Ian Bogo's procedural rhetoric argument too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick bathroom and drink break. When are we getting to the?
You've got about 5 minutes, maybe.
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't miss the beginning.
I have to fight 3 more bosses yet, and then we are gonna really get going.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in there about, like.
And there are some interesting things to talk about these bosses if I wanted to take a lot of time to get into the mechanics of this game. The catch is, if you have reached this point in Final Fantasy VI, you are so well equipped that in 90% of all cases, even casual play, you're going to blow through all 3 of these before you see the cool stuff. The really annoying part is if you're a I must 100% everything player, you actually have to do this whole tower twice, because Strago has to fight 2 of these 3 bosses. Mm-hmm. Luckily for you all.
I didn't know that.
Doom is the only enemy that'll teach Force Field, and Goddess is the only enemy that'll teach Quasar.
Oh, right. Oh, Blue Magic, right.
Yeah.
I like that we have a reprise here of Atma Weapons theme. And like, look at that, like, purple fire surrounding him.
There's a good rhetorical reason to have our reprise of the Atma Weapon theme here, because that battle is the last battle on the floating continent, and now you are fighting the 3 statues.
Yeah, true.
You're doing what you expected to do the first time around and were denied. I really like the new smoke aura around Fiend, incidentally. I wonder if each of these 3 statues will have one of those.
But yeah, you know, it started.
There we go,
with
one
just
down.
I was interested in the idea that Kefka's insanity is modeled for us musically, and then I started thinking about just kind of the implications of that we need to. You can't play the game without having at least a tacit acceptance of Kefka's insanity, which is modeled for you throughout the game's music and its narrative and the visuals, and you know, every single piece is kind of contributing to that. And I do say, like, none of that, like, in itself is insidious or like we're bad people for playing a game that has a mentally ill character. It's just like sort of thinking about the accretion of those representations as you play lots of games with those types of characters, and you see lots of films where that's like a really stock character. It's kind of a lazy characterization of evil a lot of the time, because it means that you don't have to have any genuine motivation written for that character, because it's just written off as the irrationality of the insanity, which is always ill-defined. It's always just like generically insane or they're crazy, right? We never. It's not like we're saying like, oh, this person has exactly this.
Ill-defined.
Stuff to think about.
All right, here's boss 2.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, thinking about what they did with Final Fantasies 1 through 5, the more or less, like, the villains, the ultimate villains, right? Because, like, 4, you don't even know the ultimate villain until, like, literally the very end. But they're all just like, haha, we're bad. And
right.
We're bad because we will knock you all down and we're just bad. I think what took people, at least I remember being taken by surprise, is that the whole turning against the Empire part, like that was a very clever plot device, I think, that they used, because they really set you up for thinking that this is going to be like, you know, fighting the Empire story, and then then it's like, yeah, he's just afraid. It's like, oh, he's crazy. He did it because he's crazy. Right? They don't really justify that part, but
yeah.
At least
like also game-wise, I mean, like, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, just like the pacing of the game makes you think. So not just the story, but like the music and the like everything about it makes you think that we're gonna fight like Gaston or something as this, and like the floating continents would be the final thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, could this be as effective if Kefka isn't being labeled as like the clownish crazy, and it's just he's a member, you know, a general in the Empire who then turns against the Emperor because he wants power.
Ooh, wow,
like,
that looks good now.
Could this game work without the specific references to crazy? Like, what is the crazy doing rhetorically here? We're implying some like instability, and maybe we're scared of the unpredictability. But beyond that, I think there is a way that you can write this type of character without having to do that.
Yeah.
It kind of, I feel like they iterated on it with Sephiroth a little bit, because it's like the same plan, like, well, I'm going to just destroy the entire planet, rather than, I don't want to rule the planet, I just want to destroy it. But there was like, they built and justified it more as like, well, how did he get to that point? And they fleshed out his background way more. So they might have kind of looked at it the same way, like, you know, yes, we made this wild card character, but like maybe we can make somebody that has an equally grand, like, high stakes thing, but also have more sympathy for the, like, more sympathetic background, and have more understanding of why they're doing it, as opposed to just, like you said, I'm the crazy clown, so I'm gonna destroy everything.
They essentially took
Memorable.
Kefka's character and iterated on it twice. One is Sephiroth, for sure, where kind of the hatred for everything comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But the other one is Kefka is the product of failed experimentation and abuse. Celes is compared to Kefka along those lines in FF6. Kuja from Final Fantasy IX is that taken to its logical extreme. I wonder why, like, Demon still sucks as a sprite, but Fiend got that baller aria. I said it.
Ryan, are you gonna save again?
Oh, yeah, of course I'm gonna save again. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't know where we are.
Wait, what can I do, something truly incredible?
Oh my gosh. To Pete, to the like how often we use crazy just colloquially, that is actually, that's a tough one. Because a lot of people are not using that with a lot of teeth. So plenty of people use it like in a positive, like, oh, that's crazy, like, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's not always insidious, so that makes it really hard to excise from vocabulary.
Yeah.
I feel for that, and I've had moments where, like Neil pointed out, I used the term lame in front of him once, and disability scholar like reminding me, hey, that term has connotations like beyond the 90s, and it really got me out of that, like, oh my goodness, yes, obviously, but
lame is something I had to work on.
I have shifted crazy out of the vocabulary, and now I say, wow, that's wild.
Really?
Instead.
Yeah, I've switched
around
to
students.
wild because I think that it's a really uphill battle until you can think of a word that you actively try to replace it with.
Yes.
And that's why it can be really hard when people just point out the ableist language and just say, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And it's like, you kind of want a replacement in order to make that a little bit of an easier transition. And a good example of that is when we talk about like handicapped. We still use it for parking spaces and bathrooms for some reason, but changing that language to, like, you could say accessible parking, accessible accessible bathrooms.
Okay,
and then
here we go.
it's
We're running a
positive
little bit
spin.
late on time. Sorry, everybody.
No worries.
But we're doing it.
But yeah, thinking about those types of replacements. And it's okay. It's like allowed to be a work in progress, I think. Language can be really hard to change when you have a habit like that.
Patrick, I'm watching you in the chat. Let's see where it is.
It's unfortunate placement over the characters. It's like a little hard to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be in the gap between the two.
Not very good text placement in this game.
Brace your destruction.
I like this reprise of Fanatic's Tower, and it hits even harder if you've never done it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we get our big philosophical debate, right? Like, he's arguing for non-existence, everybody else is trying to be like, but Kafka, there's so much worth living for. Why do people insist on creating things that will inevitably be destroyed? That's pretty
Yeah,
close to
this is the question here of the, yeah.
Yep, they're all gonna say, like, what we have to live for, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I
most
agree
of
with
them. I don't know
Patrick
if
in the
it's
chat. What would come off as very lazy writing in almost any other situation, they've built Kefka as the character who can and wants to ask that of the heroes in character, in game.
Yeah.
The only other character who I could see realistically pulling that off is when the Joker asks the similar question of Batman in the best moments between those two characters.
It's absolutely a good parallel. He's so much reminiscent of the MN Joker.
Also, I skipped over it, but I love that Shadow's response to what he lives for is friends, ellipsis, and family.
And
Right?
Still not ready to reveal anything. An obnoxious grandpa who I couldn't live without. I love it.
Wings from a deer. Oh, I thought they
New
had like
pals,
buffalo
Kupo.
wings. Buffalo Wild Wings with a good friend.
Oh, and here we get his.
I'm glad we kept this Woolseyism. That's excellent.
Yay!
Sound like
Lines
lines
from
from a
a
self-help book.
It's true. He's not wrong. Stop. No, stop.
I love that we reprise his theme here just because of how much of the material gets reused in Dancing Mad. It's like a really nice oral reminder.
The extra visual effect really does make that look like the light of judgment now, in a way the Super Nintendo
Yeah.
did not. I enjoyed that.
Dirt stuck to the bottom of that dirt. I don't remember that. That's funny.
I think that's a new one.
That feels like a Kanye West quote. Which is like another illness, madness, craziness in the media thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye.
It is very prevalent.
There's a
everywhere.
lot going on there. Yeah.
It has. I don't think it's ever like not been a popular motivation for evil characters.
A lot of evil also blamed on mental illness.
So it's the leaders of your parties that are selected to rise up there, that it's not randomized. I really wish it was Terra and Celis who would come up on the pillars there. That would really seal my argument unimpeachably, but alas.
Yeah.
I know I said it before, but the addition of castanets to his theme, so good.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite little addition to the instrumentation for his theme. Because I just picture him doing the castanets.
Dancing.
And being real saucy about it.
We're gonna go with oops. I don't like the numbering here. Look how the numbers are ordered. And then curse at yourself quietly with
What?
me.
So I can't
Do not
that.
want. I almost did this very, very badly, everybody.
Literally unplayable.
Why did they have to do it that way?
Okay, if we hit 9 through 12, the game will end. I'm just telling you now. These characters cannot do it.
I doubt you'll need that, but...
We will not.
Oh, I love that kind of thing.
Kind of there.
Yeah, it's a massive... Boy, it's like, what, 3 screens of just like the Tower of Demons that he's culled together.
I can't wait for this to pick up.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that.
The male voice added is awesome.
Yeah, that like tenor.
Yeah. Okay, and that's the loot point. We can kill this section of the tower now.
And if anybody hasn't seen the original concept art by Tetsuya Nomura, it's kind of neat. I have a page in my dissertation that is just all of the screens of this fight, and then mirroring it, I have the original pencil sketch, and like just how beautifully it translated. It's like almost exactly the drawing. It's really, this is an achievement in the original pixels.
I keep re-raise status. I didn't need to do that. Oh well.
In that first one, I could have used more of that kind of crunchy bass. I felt like the bass was a little bit too muted in the mix.
Oh yeah.
This is more conservative than I wanted it to be, actually. Of an arrangement, I mean.
Which is kind of what we predicted based on earlier arrangements. But we'll see. There's many parts.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't replace this with lyrics too. Oh my gosh. Or like Latin.
You know. Special boss Latin.
Tipos Vinosec.
Faux anagram Latin.
Yeah, if they just said kef 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 kefka. Evil church Latin. For more on evil church Latin, see Karen Cook.
Yeah.
I've gotten to teach a lot of that stuff this past semester, and then I've been doing some of Karen's medievalism work with my current game audio or video game music students. So I've just been like all up in the Cook readings lately, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good place to live.
I think so, considering it's my own brain.
Yeah, they just did your. I mean,
Oh,
inspired by
will
having
Delta
you on
attack
stream,
be
we just
replace
did your
him?
emotions
Does anybody know?
and they loved it.
What?
Awesome.
Sorry,
Will a
say that again,
stoned
Ryan.
will a stoned character get replaced?
I don't. Oh.
Depends
that's
on
a
which
question.
state you're in.
That's not
Because
what I
of
meant.
Laws, you know. Okay.
I have no idea. I guess we'll find out.
Try.
I love
Yeah,
the comparison. When I eat a bite of pizza that's too hot. Good faces, Julianne. And we actually had pizza tonight for dinner. It's perfect.
Oh man. Got a lot of pizza chat on this today.
We're not even playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Always in our hearts.
The fact that Dispel does not dispel frozen status annoys me, by the way.
Oobla Bell.
All right.
Gotta say
I
that every
don't
time.
expect this one to not be fine because they're just gonna make it a real organ.
Just gonna sound the same.
You think that'll be
as
the
it
only
always
change is they make
sounds
it a
almost
real organ?
exactly like the original.
Yeah.
Hey, a
Exactly the
fun
same. You know it does sound exactly the same.
a fun fact about organ from the sampling perspective is that the waveform of an organ as it's being played, because it's a continuous sound, there's almost no data after the attack, right? Like when the air starts moving through the pipe, so you can represent it in like a fraction of a second, and it's just that repeating. That's why it sounds almost exactly the same, because even on the Super Nintendo, you really only need like 100 milliseconds, and then
Yeah. That's perfect.
That's
I love
awesome.
that. I love that.
That makes a lot of sense to me, and I had never thought about it that way before.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. That's usually pulling out nearly all the stops.
It is. But it's not. It's just.
Yep,
That
we
one
can
actually
move
does
on
have a
now.
nice, like, the loop in that actually does feel like a nice turnaround. Like, unlike Dancing 2, where it just kind of like runs out of steam and then it just like goes back to the too hot pizza voice.
Oh. More hot pizza voice. It's arranged for hot pizza voice.
I'm gonna have to do this again later to see that if you steal the Ragnarok sword from Mary here, if you will, do you get to keep it after you finish the game?
That's famous.
Here we go.
Okay, Mog. Oh, little nugget.
Mog's the only one ascending.
Right.
Where'd everybody else go?
I don't know why that's so funny.
He's so cute.
That's a weird graphical glitch for sure.
He's so cute.
Alright.
Oh, wait a minute. His script has started already. Why has he started fighting? And I can't do anything yet. This sucks.
Why did we start his laugh 3 times in a row?
The Life 3 proc on Mog screwed with the logic of this.
It actually bugged out.
It did.
But the music is fine. Music always wins.
I've got it though.
I'm glad they
We're
went-
fine.
I'm glad they went for the more like electronic organ on that.
A little nasally.
Apologies that we are going to finish this fight quickly. I do not want to see the one move that could actually potentially kill me right now.
But
So-
we gotta hear it. It's a music stream, not a finish the game stream.
I'll wait
Yeah,
in
but
this menu
the
right
ending
here.
music is really good, Julianne. So
I know,
wanna...
but we gotta hear that too. Will we hear at least for one loop?
I'm waiting for it for one loop right here.
Alright, that's
I actually like this timbre quite a bit. But I wish that lead would punch above the rest of the mix a little bit more. There we go. There we go. We don't get to see Goner. Too bad.
I
Okay.
didn't get
what
to
the
hear the
friggin'
laugh.
frag? Couldn't you put it on wait mode? Oh my god, black mages, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I feel bad for Jill, by the way. Evan
good.
must still be not going down.
He's asleep on her.
Oh,
Babies be ruined.
yeah. I can't hear Andy right now. Is he muted?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I have Discord open too. I was muting and unmuting myself there. I was gonna say it's the it's the baby jail. So some nights when he's having a bad night, he just
Yep.
has to sleep on. So pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
after this, I'm gonna be the last for a few hours. Then we'll switch. Right?
No, we've
Yeah.
had that where, like, especially when Josephine's teething, she, like, only wants to sleep on me, and then I can't sleep because I'm, like, holding her, and I cannot, like, relax in that state.
I've worked out a way of like micro sleeping with him on that. I can like prop myself up in such a way that he's completely like encased in my arms, and I can sleep for like a few minutes at a time. And somehow it adds up, but it's not recommended.
There's no perfect solution to that. All right, I'm really excited to hear this.
I think theme is going to be the same, but with the reverb.
It's so
Sassy.
choreographed. They're not going to change anything, really. Unless the clarinet choir comes in finally.
So as Ryan's chapter argues, there's the libretto.
That's right. That's the libretto to Final Fantasy VI unfolding for you.
Go.
I love that little harp moment there.
Dun, dun, dun. Cyan.
Yeah, because we didn't change the names.
Did you change?
No, sorry, yeah, we didn't change the names. Also, I will say, the new font that I've put in here for the Pixel Remaster, which has been okay, it's a reasonable replacement from the horrible default font.
Yeah.
It still looks wildly stupid against the really artistic thing they've got going on.
Yeah. Papyrus Helvetica.
Cyan Papyrus Helvetica Garmond. Excellent.
That's pretty good. But yeah, the chapter also arguing like, what other game lets you change the characters' names, but then at the end is kind of like, no, you're just playing this this person as this.
Right, you can change the
what you
cast
decided to
members,
name
but
them.
you can't change the characters.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. Even the other Final Fantasy games, where all of the characters after Final Fantasy III have last names. This is the only one where they show up in a, like, pointed way, I think. Because even Final Fantasy VII and VIII, after this, except I think we hear Cloud Strife once in the script. We never hear Gainsborough or Wallace for the FF7 characters.
Yeah.
I remember the first time getting to the end of this game and like learning a lot of their names. I was like, wait, what? Like learning the last names of most of them.
I was like, they're just like me. They're just like my friends.
I mean, you're supposed to learn them before you play, right? If you spend the couple hundred yen on the guidebook.
Yeah, I had a really good guidebook that had all their information, their ages, their names, their birthdays, all the original art.
And importantly, their blood type, right? I mean, in Japan.
Yes.
Because that's a huge thing. Yeah. That doesn't translate to a lot of
Zodiac
US
sign
audiences.
is the nearest equivalent.
Yeah. I love Mog.
Ascendant Mog.
I love the idea of fishing him out like a crane game. That's my favorite.
I use Kupo as a term of endearment.
There's a couple little
So
extra
technology.
flourishes on this that this sounds to me for Mog's theme right here how it would have been done if I had asked Laura and Travia to throw something together for it. And that's pretty high praise from me. I like this.
He even says I'm not a
Yeah, I
stuffed
really-
animal Kupo. I like that Mog goes over to Amaro.
I like that they get
Amaro doesn't
scared
get a lot
dead
of
too.
development. So it's nice that there's like that connection that he can talk to the Yeti.
I do like I like that he's just the Hulk.
Yeah, ooga.
That's-
He's not the game's least developed character, actually. That honor goes to Gogo, who is literally in the game as a joke.
No, but he's second least developed.
I mean, as the Berserker, it makes sense, though, right?
Go-Go's theme underappreciated among remixers.
Clarinet, get it.
Is it
It's kind of
technically
like a
a Final
reverse
Fantasy
overture
V piece, though, right? Like,
I love this moment. Oh, you have
Yeah.
to mimic?
It's genius.
Almost like that's what you do.
right?
But yeah, you know, like the classic operatic overture that presents most of the major themes. We're getting it now at the end.
Right, yeah, it comes at the end instead of the beginning.
Which is cool because it ends up being this and honestly there's so many freaking leitmotifs, right? Like there's so many characters, so having this at the beginning.
I really
This is
like
a
this on
more
double reed
ludic
instead
way
of
to do
cello,
this.
incidentally.
All the cellists are mad at you now.
What?
This is the only serious vignette of the whole set, incidentally. Is the one that actually gives us the plot resolution for these two characters.
Yeah. Are they the only two presented that way other than the brothers?
Yes, the brothers and this pair. That's it.
Get that theme in there.
This time Locke is not going to drop her and put her in a coma. Because he already had all that.
Oh, I
Like,
wanted
I
more
don't
of an
know.
arrival right there. That's okay, though. I'm being really picky. Patrick in the chat, Locke and Celis are the only heterosexual couple that appear in multiple fan fictions.
What's the significance of the martini glasses for Terra?
I don't know.
Wait, I feel like I knew this. Someone in the chat's gonna say it.
Yeah, I don't.
There is a significance.
can't-
I forget.
I can't
There's
think.
there's a moment.
Oh, Dominic in the chat. There you go. The glasses are the mixing of human and Esper. The two parents, and the glasses are adorned differently.
I don't think that's it, but I like it. I thought it was like I don't think that's it. I mean, I thought it was like a more direct scene.
Yeah,
For
that's
some
really
reason.
indirect for her.
Oh, there you go, Pete coming in hot with the.
Who's video games, Pete?
Hurry up, get it down. Put it on your like Lehman-esque list of booze motifs on your website.
Oh, he looks so
shut
tired.
up. Wine moms.
Wine moms.
I hate it
Yeah.
so much.
Everyone calls her mama in that village, so
Yeah.
there we've solved it. It's Tara's a wine mom now.
Wine mom.
Oh, wait,
no,
here.
Chad
The
is-
music
Chad.
entrance here.
Oh, gross. I love this. I've always loved this already to no shadow in the end.
This is too orchestral and not enough Morricone for me. The Super Nintendo music right here really gives us a Western moment.
I love this being orchestral here. I mean, it still sounds Morricone to me. With the big strings.
No, it enters on like... There's a trumpet arrival during the epilogue for Shadow right there.
Yeah, you're right. There is. Not hot enough again.
It's really sad to watch him turn the dog away there. Poor Interceptor.
Yeah, turning the dog away is tough.
Rude.
And I've often wondered why Strego is last here, and I've come to the conclusion that they didn't have a good spot to fit him into the medley, so he had to go somewhere.
Yeah, the order doesn't really have
I've tried for a long time when I was writing that book chapter. I was like, there has to be a reason, right? Why do you choose to order it in this way? There's not, team.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because like you mentioned, that only a couple of them have that really Shadow, and then Celis and Locke have the like emotional moments. A lot of them are silly, so it doesn't even follow like the emotional arc.
Yeah, and Dominic in the chat, that's right. That is one of Woolsey's rare failures by necessity, that he can't say Shadow's gonna die, right?
Yeah.
What face? No.
Oh, I like that. Dominic says, I think Strago's placement is very strategic. He comes in after Shadow has appeared after Realm to make Shadow's place as Realm's father clear or hinted at if you haven't seen the Nightmares.
Oh, that makes sense.
So maybe musically it doesn't make a lot of sense, but narratively...
Yeah.
Oh, the rainbow. Narratively, that is kind of a nice...
That rainbow
like
over Barren Falls is new, and I like it a lot right there. This flute arrangement here recalls Lena's theme from 5 for me, and doubly so now that it's the exact same timbre in the Pixel Remaster set of them. There's some timbral unification things going on across this set of 6 games. I love that we pull her in instead of pan over now. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like that interaction that is not present in the Super Nintendo game.
Huh.
Where we can see Celis going over to make sure she's okay.
Okay. Why does Shadow stay in the tower?
Maybe he felt like he deserved it.
Like, I feel like that's not set up. It's not like, oh, somebody needs to stay behind and, like, hit a switch. You know, like, there's not even that type of reason. It's just like, you could maybe raise your daughter now.
It's because he's an Ennio it's because he's a Western hero. He did the work. Right? It's done. And in a Western, when it's done, they don't come home again.
The real work is raising your daughter.
Yeah, for real. And your dog, like, you're just gonna let the... You know that dog isn't gonna leave.
Look at this water. They're like,
Like 10 minutes later, Shadow's gonna be going down with the ship, and Interceptor's gonna be right there.
No, I'm serious though. That I'm gonna stand on this hill. It's because they want Shadow to be the Western cowboy character.
It just
Even
feels
though he is a ninja.
very unsatisfying. Like they could have set that up a little bit. I don't know.
It's a that originated with the ninja. It's a reclaiming of it from the Western that borrowed from Kurosawa to begin with. When the work is done, they don't go home.
It just seems kind of pointless to me. Like he's giving in to the nihilism that we just tried to defeat.
He's just really tired. He's ran out of energy. It's like, yeah, man.
Right.
Rest. I don't think that's fine.
Wants to see Barum again, right? I mean, that's possible.
Yeah. It's amazing how many times I've played this game and yet how few times I've actually finished it. Like so many save files left to write it. The Kefka fight.
I will say, one of my favorite things about this game is that they leave a lot for you to figure out. No modern game would ever introduce a character who is a different character's father and not have that be pointed out to you so specifically and in your face that you could come away from the game not realizing it.
Yeah.
Right? That's just not an acceptable
do
practice
work.
for modern games today.
Yeah. To see all those cutscenes, you have to first recognize that there's an unusual nightmare happening, and then go, oh, I wonder if I sleep in a bed again with him.
Right.
Like, you have to not just take the first one as a one-off scene, but then go find all the other, you know.
So fun fact, the string section that was recorded for this, Koichiro Muraya strings, I sampled them for...
yeah, that's right. This is the Tokyo scoring strings
scoring
library
strings.
that just came out, right?
Yeah, and actually we are going back in the studio in a few months to do the like a quintet. So to get the soloists from this. So if you want to have this string sound, that will be how you do it. It was interesting, actually. There was a discussion. We were talking about the library where it was like we had the Japanese composer team that was sort of managing the sessions, and they were talking about how you'll would probably appreciate this since with the conservatory backgrounds. They were saying that everybody in Japan that studies music uses the exact same textbook. One of the people there that came to the States to study, I think he went to Berkeley, he was like shocked at the variety of textbooks we have. He's like, yeah, everybody studies from the exact same textbook in Japan for composition. Yeah, it's like it's a translated French one, I think. I can't remember the name, unfortunately, off the top of my head. But yeah, he was like, wow, people use like different ones at different conservatories. It's not all just like one thing. Interesting stuff.
That's fantastic. You do realize now that your job, though, Andy, is to track down that book.
Yeah, let us know, because that's fascinating. I'm going to immediately order a copy.
Right, he said
painstakingly translate it just so I have a sense of what's in it.
Yeah.
I have to send a message to the composer who he said the Japanese name and it's like too fast. He didn't write it down. Mm-hmm. So he said the Japanese name and then they didn't translate that to English during the conversation. And people in the chat was like, "Go back! What was that?"
Right. Oh, similarly, Cryware, Japanese wise, like.
Yeah, that's every. I don't understand it.
Every big Japanese game uses it. I don't know any American developer that uses it. And Andy knows more than I do, so maybe he can correct me here. But I'm pretty sure there is an East-West split hard.
Yeah, there is. I don't know why. It's interesting.
Huh.
At least they didn't show the baby like just appear on top of. I'm glad it was a tasteful pan after the baby has already. But like, it kind of implies the kids have been there through the whole labor, just like standing over the bed.
And the kids have been there, yet he has not been, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Is that?
Maybe the kids have been trained in midwifery. Because I'll tell you, I did not want anyone really around me other than the doctors and Joe. I think it would be very weird to have an audience.
All the kids like, you can do it, Mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. There's a thread on is it R Game Design on Reddit, one of the game designer development subreddits, and people were asking about what kind of ending do you prefer for an RPG, and it's like, do you prefer a closed book ending where it's like as soon as you beat the boss, it's like this, and you get like everything, it's a bow and everything, and then the game stops. And if you want to keep playing, you just reload to your last save point. And then the opposite end of the spectrum is like you just keep exploring the worlds, and you hope that developers remember to update the dialogue for like all the NPCs talking about the encounter. And it was interesting seeing the range of opinions, and there are games that kind of fell in between, but this FF6's ending was pretty spectacular. This and Chrono Trigger both, like, for the time.
Oh my god.
Like over half hour, you know.
Yep.
Stunning.
This is the second best ending, I think, in the Final Fantasy franchise. Topped only by the conclusion to Shadowbringers in Final Fantasy XIV, which was absolutely tremendous. I cried twice.
You FF14 people, like, oh boy.
So, and Andy's known me long enough to have known this, actually. I was not allowed to play an MMORPG when I got married to Addie. That was like the one rule for me, bringing this like giant gaming habit into the relationship, right? And so I was way behind until the pandemic, when I got to break that rule.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we don't have... I don't think Joe or I play any MMOs. Not that we don't have plenty to keep us busy here, but...
14 was my first ever.
I technically had to play World of Warcraft for a semester for a graduate class.
You poor thing.
Oh, it was honestly terrible. I had Andrew Lors and Dia Vengeance help me like reach max level immediately, and then I was like, look, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. And it's not that I didn't like the game. I love being thanked, by the way. Yes, thank you.
Well, that is nice.
My very favorite thing in an RPG is that if you do the big crawl of credits, and it's like, and you.
Yeah.
At the end.
Thank you.
It's like, that's me.
Yeah,
great.
I know that person. So I have to turn off my background.
Oh.
So I can show my shirt again.
Look, they don't give it to you. I'm angry about this.
Yeah.
Data saves progress up to the final boss, which means that if you steal the extra Atma weapon and the extra Ragnarok sword from Kefka, they take it away from you again. So what this really means is that 2 weeks ago I should not have listened to Julianne, and I should have gotten the sword, not the rock.
No, I said get the sword. I'm a sword rock.
I never do the sword.
So don't.
But yeah, I always have to stand up to show the shirt because I liked the design too much to get something that would actually be visible on the stream.
Very good.
So I'm like,
Nice.
You know what?
This was awesome.
Oh well, if I have to stand up every now and then and show everyone my awesome Cast of Final Fantasy VI shirt, I will.
So we have done almost all of the Pixel remasters on stream now. We're not going to go back and do 2, I don't think, on stream. Though the music was very good. I think we found an excuse to just play the good 7 tracks from that and then moved on. We've got to decide what's coming up next.
Tracks.
Can you play the Final Fantasy VII Demaster?
Right.
There's like a Chinese bootleg.
There is. I've got it. Yeah.
For Famicom.
All right, I'm gonna link the stream poll in chat, everybody, for best glow up, and then folks can reply underneath if something else should have won. So far, Searching for Friends has 75% of the vote.
I think Searching for Friends is the game's best remade track here for sure.
It's very beautiful.
There's some really good moments. I think overall there were a lot of times where we wish they had just gone a lot harder than they did. They seemed a little bit tentative
So-
or conservative.
I'm convinced, and we are eventually going to get a Chrono Trigger remake as well. Just because the game is so good, I mean, they need to make more money off of it at some point, right? From a business decision, it makes sense to me. I want them to feel like they have the agency to mess with the games that are in serious conversation for the best ever made. FF6 and Chrono Trigger are really hard to touch. Right? They are. In a way that Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not. Right? 7 had the same reputation, which is why I think it made sense to completely not just remaster it, but re-envision what those characters and what possibilities could even exist in the space. So you don't even have a remake or a remaster of 7. You actually have a complete remake where the story is different between the PlayStation and the PS4 5 version. If we ever get Chrono Trigger redone, I would like to see that level of investment with it, and I want to see it in the anime engine of Dragon Quest XI.
Oh, that would look so good.
I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out with their was it 4? Is Dragon Quest 3 or 4 that they're doing in like the Octopath style? Like, I'm curious because that is a big visual overhaul. That's much bigger than
it is. Yeah, it's
like
Dragon Quest 3 that's getting it, which is the game that has the whole mythology surrounding it. That like Japanese school kids skipped school so much the government intervened.
So I'd be curious to see like, are they gonna basically just stick to the game otherwise, and it's just a visual overhaul, or are they gonna go kind of harder? Something like. I almost feel like Final Fantasy VI, from the gameplay perspective, is not quite as balanced as Chrono Trigger. Like, Chrono Trigger is almost perfect in terms of the
oh, yeah, Final Fantasy VI, everybody becomes a super wizard, and then that's the end, right?
But it's like fun to make your characters that overpowered. But it's also a longer game than Chrono Trigger, so I feel like there's... Yeah. I don't know, they could go either way. They could redo it, do HD2D, and keep everything else exactly the same.
So, in terms of...
It depends on who the director is, like what they're, you know...
Patrick in the chat suggested that you can't change it. There's one immediate change you could make to Chrono Trigger, and that is add back in the Singing Mountain side quest.
Yes,
for... in part because I really like that piece of music, but in part because then every character has one extra side quest at the very end. Right now... that character misses it, right? There is nothing for her to do at the end. The other thing, if you wanted to, and the chat's going to erupt with hatred against me, is lean harder into the Chrono Cross connection that they attempted on the Nintendo DS version.
Right.
But the thing is, lots of people who like Chrono Trigger despise Chrono Cross. So you're going to upset your audience at that point.
It's not a good game.
Yeah, see, Andrew's in the no Chrono Cross camp.
I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, but there did come that point kind of late in Chrono Cross, because I didn't know it until we played it on stream, where I felt like it just ripped the heart out of anybody who loved Chrono Trigger. And I was like, I don't like how they're unwriting everything that, you know, like that's so meaningful. They should be adding to it. So that's my issue with Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross's big sin, we don't have a lot of time to debate it, but you can't kill the 3 most beloved main characters on a whole hardware platform off camera. That's bullshit.
Like, also, like the combat system is wrong. Like, the game speed is wrong. The pacing is wrong. If you're comparing to the original, I mean, they could have done something like with the Chrono Trigger 2. They could have, for example, said, okay, we did all this stuff in the timeline. Okay, what else changed that was unintended? You could have literally anything. You could say we screwed up the whole timeline. Like, okay, cool.
In many ways, Radical Dreamers, despite the fact that it's a short visual novel, makes more cohesive sense as Chrono Trigger 2 than Chrono Cross does. Because the interesting thing we want to know at the end of Chrono Trigger is, what does Magus go and do? Right? That's the only question we're left really wanting to know. Like, Chrono and Maro and Luca, they rule the kingdom now. Great, they're done. We've got business to settle. Right? Like, you want that. Radical Dreamers attempts to give it to you in a very interesting way. And I feel like you could have developed that plot line in Chrono Cross without having to include all the other characters back. And that would have been really good. Alas.
I'm going to try to make a Back to the Future 2 reference and say that Chrono has to go back in time and prevent Magus from betting on all the baseball games and becoming Donald Trump. And then
nice.
his dad is dead and he has to... always comes back to the Future.
In terms of what we're doing next on stream, I don't know. I've got a lot of really interesting Indiecade stuff crossing my desk right now, but I can't announce what I'm looking at publicly.
Makes sense.
But there's a whole bunch of amazing indie games coming through my work pipeline right now. I've encouraged a couple folks to submit to Indiecade, and I'm hoping that a few people do. Though I don't get to see all 7,000 submissions. I'm not looking at all those now. We're doing the first pass right now of this is good. The committees should look at this, and the committees should not look at this. I'm not going to say this is bad about any specific title, but I mean this is the first big culling phase right now.
But yeah, as always, if folks have requests, let us know. Maybe come stream with us. We always like when our guests choose games, and we're able to do that. We do have a spreadsheet too of just like random things all of us are interested in as well.
That's right. When Flowstone Saga launches, after I do my part of the job for it, we will have to have you back, Andy. You can show us the new game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure thing. We're that's the current project.
Do we know do we know a projected date yet? Is that like 2022, spring 23?
We're really shooting for the end of this year.
Okay.
We'll see if we can hit it. It's a lot. There's so much that's gone into it. I remember at one point the town scene of the game was it was a pixel game, but we kind of did it from a side perspective, so you would move left and right. There's all this art created, all the cutscenes had that. And I remember on a whim one day, I created a more of like a top-down style for exploring a different part of the world. And I was like, wouldn't it feel good if you could just like wander around, get chests and stuff in between, story and battle? And OA looked at it, the artist and the lead designer of the game, and he was like, this is better, and this is going to cost us about 5,000 hours. It's like, we're going to have to redo everything in this style instead. So that, we might have been done like last year, but redoing all the art, a little time consuming.
Looking forward to that.
Darth Plagueis, we did do Lena's Inception. Holy smokes, I love that game. That was so good.
That was a great find. That's another. Yeah, we can always dig through some of those bundles. There's so many.
That's right. Those indie bundles of like 500 games to support.
Or we just
whatnot.
have
It's impossible to get through all of those materials.
Yeah, and then just a quick last plug. Tomorrow on my stream is going to be George Reed.
Oh, nice.
Which we're looking at the Ludomusical Shaping of Identity article, which is kind of a distillation of their PhD project. So it's so good. We did a test call earlier in the week, and I mean, it took 10 minutes to test everything. We just like sat there and talked about David Bowie remixes and
excellent.
That sounds amazing.
Like the loveliest human. Also did all of my channel art, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and hopefully you all can commission some pixel art for yourselves. So it's going to be early tomorrow, just because I have to get to a wedding gig, and I didn't want to have to cut us short. So I wanted to. We're starting a half hour early at 1:30 Eastern tomorrow.
Mark that in my calendar.
Nice.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it occurs to me the Andrew Lors, the person that Andy just mentioned here. I commissioned him to do the background art for this channel. So when you see that like shaded sheet music of Edward's stuff on the channel, that's his work.
Nice.
All right, we'll be back next week after you stop by Dana's stream tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.